Good morning, everybody. It's hard to believe another year is coming to an end. It's Hanukkah, it's Christmas, it's Kwanzaa, and now it's New Year's and 2020. I think obviously this is our last interview for this year. Couldn't go out with, I don't know, I bet Mark and he's been one of my kid friends. You were a baby. What is it, 40 years now?
At least, yeah. I think our first show I remember that you invited me on was at the Warwick Hotel when I owned the Avenue Grill on 17th Street in Washington,
That's when the
and I believe that was right around 1989. Believe it or not, the year that we opened, late 1989. So not to date either one of us, but that was a little while ago.
yeah, the radio station was up there, as a matter
That's,
of
yeah, it was, I remember it well.
fact. My dog was less than a year old. So we're really going back. I watched you get married, grow up. You now
That's right.
own Shanahan's and you went to Chicago. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, a great way to end the year for me. Shanahan still is my favorite place. There's nobody that does steak, and I'm not a steak fan like you do, but your chicken, your fish, your oysters, whatever is perfect. So
Thank
good.
you. Thank you, Pat.
And and the best carrot cake.
Yeah, we've been open, we just finished our 15th year.
Oh
We
God.
opened in December of 2009, and we opened actually on Christmas Eve, the 24th. So we just completed 15 years, and of course, we're you know, enjoying the Denver Tech Center, just enjoying our location. We've done so many improvements over the years, and we're just happy to be, one of the, better known steakhouses, not just locally, but nationally. And we have a great team, and everyone's worked so hard to get to this point. And I couldn't be more proud of the group that I have around me every day. And we're just glad to be a part of the community to the level that we are, and just have enjoyed doing business in Denver, even though it has its challenges, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But
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 in the meantime,
overall, all
everything,
good.
yeah, but everything you serve is tops. The best steak, the new chicken dish. Well, if you recall, I was with Dave and he ordered something else. He ordered the chicken. I ordered something else and I made him change dinners with me. That's how good it was. I said, sorry, you can't have it. So fortunately, I'm a spoiled brat and he let me. I mean, it's phenomenal because it's 15 years, but it's totally up to date. I don't know how you train a staff to have service and as many people as you have working there running food in the back. I said, I can't imagine being a cook back there and trying to make every steak come out perfect that it does.
As you know, the restaurant business, Pat, it's organized chaos.
Well,
That's how I term it.
yeah, well, you organize it incredibly well. Plus the wines and the drinks and the people and you know,
Yeah, we've had the good fortune of having, some great accolades over the years, and our wine program has grown so much. I mean, we have about 650 SKUs right now. That's quite a few selections, and just received for our 10th year in a row, just received the Wine Spectator Best of Award. So Myers McDougall, our wine director, has really done a fabulous job with the list, and our cellar is a lot of fun. It's one of the probably one of the best parts of the experience is to take some time if you're a wine connoisseur to just peruse that list and really see what kind of fun selections are available, and unique selections.
good for you. Everything is, I don't care if you're at the bar, in the bar area, in the dining room, at a party. My cousin was just raving about an anniversary. where he had 45 people for his immediate family. And I said, well, I was just there with four, and it was just as perfect. So, you know what? God bless you. Good for you. But before we get too far, we decided that not only Shanahan's, you've been the head of the Colorado Restaurant Association's board and all of that. And I think it was in today's paper that we obviously didn't know that when we made this plan about how we are helping to put the restaurants out of business. So I'm going to let you take over.
Well, I think, obviously there's always a lot of conversation around what's happening with the minimum wage here in Denver and in Colorado, but especially in Denver, where it's the highest of any other city within the state. And we correlate that to the tip credit wage, which is a $3 variance from the minimum wage, and that would be a little, $3 lower than what the minimum wage is. And of course, it has a sliding scale, whereas the minimum wage goes up every year. It's that's already, kind of set as to, how that's tied to the CPI rate and how much that's actually going to be raised. But it averages about $1 a year, which is a lot. Back in the day when I started in the business, the minimum wage would, go up maybe 25 cents or less. And now it's going up in increments of $1. Well, it doesn't sound like much, but the aggregate of that number is very impactful and substantial for restaurants. And it can raise payrolls well into the six digits when you annualize the total raise, over a 12-month period. So it really affects restaurants, and it affects them in many ways. Obviously, the economics of it are challenging, but what really happens is the consumer is the one that feels it the most because it forces restaurants to continue to raise their prices. And it's, of course, trickle down economics. And when we, have a increase, it's going to have, a very substantial impact on us. For example, the tip credit going up to in January into the $16 range. That is,
That,
that's a
that,
huge baseline and for all restaurants to be able to absorb, especially in comparison to other cities. For example, if you were in Dallas, Texas today, operating a restaurant similar to what many of us operate here in Denver, in size and volume and similar price point, you would be paying $2.50 an hour.
you're
So
kidding. Okay. And I read today in New York, it's $5.35,
yeah,
and
so
they
it's
can afford more.
yeah, so it's and of course, servers, there's always this misnomer out there that service staff is struggling, but they really aren't. They're doing well, which we want them to do well, of course, and um, they have a tip credit wage that usually, during an 8-hour shift can equate, anywhere, from 90, to 100, dollars per shift, not including any of their tips. And then, of course, with the you know, COVID, with the advent of COVID and everything that took place with inflation, all of our prices are up, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30%. So that means that their tips are up 20 to 30%. That was somewhat of a silver lining for service staff post-COVID, that the inflationary factor ended up giving them a raise in and of itself, not to mention a tip credit wage. So service staff, bartenders, servers, busboys, food runners, hostesses, they're all actually faring pretty well right now. It's the restaurant operators that are, really challenged as to how to make their economics work. And there's only, one answer, of course, when it comes to, being faced with increased insurance cost, increased labor cost, increased food cost, and of course I can, increase property taxes. I could go on forever about all the increases that restaurants are forced to absorb. But really, what happens is we have to raise prices. We don't have a choice. And where is the threshold? That would be the $1 million question as to, in other words, sacrificing, volume for margin, where we raise our prices to the point where we just don't see as many guests in all of our restaurants as we used to. And that's when restaurants really, it becomes a real conundrum, and restaurants are really faced with a new challenge as to how to get their guest counts and not experience guest attrition, back to a normal level that's acceptable for their business model.
No, it's very, very hard. But well, several things. I mean, I believe the chefs, the back of the house is not, unless it's your head chef on a salary, they don't make as much as the
Yeah.
front of the house. Is that right?
That's correct. Well, the disparity between the front and back of the house has always been a challenge for our industry, as you well know, Pat. And we obviously are trying to figure out, how to combat that. But once again, once we have all these increased cost and increased labor that we're, paying, across the board, especially to front of the house employees, there's not much left over
Right.
for the back of the house. And that's really the unfortunate part of it, the disparity between, those two incomes, because the back of the house is not spoken about a lot, other than
Other than you wouldn't have
other
food.
than the chefs that we all know about and sometimes get to meet. But really, the back of the house is so valuable, and equally as valuable as all of our front of the house employees. And as I mentioned, earlier, it takes an entire team to put on a show when it comes to,
It is so good. Right.
producing what restaurants are required, to deliver when it comes to exceptional food and
Right.
service.
Well, and people on the outside walking in, they are complaining, obviously. If they go to the grocery store, it's ridiculous
Sure.
as well. But they complain about going to a restaurant because of the prices. Then on many bills now, there's a huge service charge, not your 20% tip, but for the back of the house or something like that.
Yeah, and a lot of restaurants that aren't building, are, have some trepidation about building these costs that we're talking about, these increased costs, especially labor, into their pricing. Then they just have ancillary, costs, surcharges that are going to be, on their bill, that are somehow, either, back of the house fees to help compensate some of, the employees in the back, or, they just have other, charges that are in
Yeah.
some way helping them offset some of the increased expenses so that they can, remain open.
No, yeah. I mean, personally, I would love to see restaurants build it in their prices and not have 20 add-ons that I have to read, for me. But who knows how they want to do it. And I see now many of them are charging, which really surprised me when I first saw it, was for using your credit card. Well, I don't go to a restaurant with that much cash.
Yeah, or they're offering a discount for cash, but yeah, I mean, the credit card fees, not, everyone is aware of the
Right.
expense of taking a credit card, but it averages anywhere from 3 to 4% for restaurants on your total bill. It doesn't sound like much, but
It is.
at the end of a calendar year, at the end of the month, for, example, it's, into the many thousands of dollars. So that's just another added expense back, in the early years, in our industry. It used to be about a 50-50, ratio of credit cards to cash, but today very few people, carry cash. And of course, as we talked about, with restaurants being more expensive, you'd have to carry more cash.
Right.
So it's obviously a lot more user-friendly for the consumer today to use their credit card. But restaurants are, having to absorb that fee. And of course, there's a lot of new legislation out there that's in the works to try and, not abate those fees, but, offer, the retailer a better discount on those fees with, the exchange rates and so forth being reduced. So that legislation is being talked about right now, and there are bills that are being drafted to help reduce that, but it hasn't come to fruition yet.
Yeah, well, I hope the public hears this and reads the paper and tries to support some of this in to help the restaurants. I mean, again, I'm not paid by anybody, but I'm not even paid by me anymore. But at Shanahan's, for example, and you still serve bread, and they ask you if you'd like more bread. You have free valet parking. If I say, could I split something? Half these restaurants are going to charge you $5 or $10 for the plate or something. Not when they're putting more food on it, just to, split something.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you do all this for me.
sure. Well, our goal, and I don't think it's any different than I speak, of course, on behalf of all my contemporaries out there, all restaurateurs, all retailers that are in business, trying to, do everything they can to stay in business. And I really believe that everyone is trying to be as creative as possible. All business owners are to find ways to give the best value possible to their guests so that they'll come back with as much frequency as possible. So we work hard at that, and but it's really important that people understand that all of those things that you just mentioned, which we absolutely love doing, cost us a lot of money.
Right.
They aren't just fringe benefits, so to speak. They're really significant and equate to a lot of dollars every day that we want to make sure that we're providing the best possible value for our guests, and that they understand that and appreciate it. But restaurants are really, really trying hard to find ways to give whatever they can to their guests. It's just some can afford to do more than others, depending on, what type of concept it is.
No, oh, I totally agree. And as I say, as part of the public, I can't say unless possibly there's some way they can go help support legislation to take care of some of this. Uh, the wait staff certainly they make a living. You can't say they're struggling. I mean,
But
if they go to their job and do it well.
yeah, and of course, there's always the argument, Pat, of, what the cost of living is in Denver. And obviously Denver is not an inexpensive place to live. It's a great city. It's a unique city. And I think that it has, many special qualities that, not all other cities have. But with that being said, for a mid-sized city, we are not really one of the most expensive cities, in the country, but we're obviously not on the lower end of that spectrum. So, it's important that, people, have a living wage and will be able to afford to, hopefully rent, apartments near their work, and obviously have, a lifestyle that can, give them the opportunity to take care of themselves and their families. But at the same time, we want to make sure there's jobs.
Right.
So, all those things being equal, if for some reason jobs become scarce in restaurants, then that's somewhat of a
That,
double-edged sword. Then we have a new problem, and it's already starting to surface to some degree. You're seeing a lot of restaurants close, and we want our employees and restaurant workers out there to be able to work, and not only be able to work, but be able to grow within their roles, and for the restaurants to be able to create opportunities for growth, for them when it comes to, moving up the ladder a little bit, and, wanting to, grow within their industry. So I think that's a huge factor that we want to be mindful of, that we don't push it to the point where, yes, we're providing a great wage, but the jobs are few and far between, in the industry.
Really good point. Because the more they close, the more people are running around and looking for a job again.
Yeah, and that also filters down to the guest, and all of the consumers out there that want to go out to eat, and can't find a restaurant where they can get a reservation because there's just not enough out there. And it can affect everyone. So I think we need to find a way to have a happy medium here. And I think the wages are right now, the big topic of conversation amongst all of the restaurateurs in the restaurant industry. We certainly talk about it quite a bit. Within the Colorado Restaurant Association, the restaurateurs are all always voicing their opinion about it, and the Restaurant Association is, of course, lobbying on, everyone's behalf, and doing, a great job. But it just takes time to educate everybody on what our true needs are.
Good for you. I mean, and I don't know what we can ask people to do that could help. Well, first, support your local restaurants that are doing a good job.
Yeah, support your local restaurants, which, we feel the community as a whole, is really incredible with, but also to, just understand what you're voting for. When you're voting for a minimum wage, increase, when you're voting for, increase in taxes and things of that nature, just understand how they affect, the everyday business of every restaurateur, every retailer, and that we want to make sure that, of course, we do the right thing, but we also allow everyone to be able to stay in business, and for new restaurants to enter into the marketplace, so that we obviously grow our community with the eclectic mix of restaurants that are required to keep a city vibrant.
True. Okay. All that said, back to Shanahan's for a couple of minutes. You do a Sunday night, but you're open every night.
Yeah, we're open 7 nights a week, and we're open from 5 o'clock for dinner until 10 o'clock at night on Monday through Saturday, and then on Sunday we're open from 5 o'clock till 9 o'clock p.m. And that's the night where we, of course, feature our prime grade prime rib that we bring in, fresh. From our meat supplier in Chicago. We have that flown in just for Sunday nights, and we have a prefix menu on those evenings for $89. And it's an incredible menu. Not only do you have a choice of prime rib, but you have a choice of many of our other cuts of steaks and our fresh fish. And, of course, with included are all the accompaniments, the sides and salads and desserts. So it's really a great value. And we're, just continuing to improve our menu day by day. Our chefs are always
Yes, you
working
do.
to, create not only new items, but give the items we have a little bit more flair at times. So it's it's really a collaborative effort, and the restaurant is really a special place, and I can't think of any other restaurant, although there's so many great restaurants in Denver that would be better suited for, a birthday, an
They
anniversary,
do.
any milestone celebration. We would hope that Shanahan's would be, top of your list. But I just want to also say that I am, and I know, Pat, you could chronicle this much better than I could, but um, I am just so proud to be a part of the Denver restaurant community, and
I,
to, the growth that we've experienced. And I think back, in the early years when I came to Denver in 1983, and just how few restaurants there were. Yeah, of course, there were a lot less people as well, but and just to have watched this city evolve and become, the food town that it is, and for people to have, so many options, and you really, it's really an adventure if you have the, time to explore, the restaurants that are not only in the Denver Tech Center, but are, even further south, all the way to Castle Rock and Colorado Springs to, up north, in, not just downtown, but in the Highlands and Rhino and just,
I found a great one in Arvada this
in our,
week.
yeah, and all the new areas that are just, continue to see these, great restaurants pop up. It really is a fun scene, and we just all want to make sure that, we're a part of it to whatever degree we can be.
Well, you are a very huge part of it in my life, in my over a zillion years and all that. But I think in Denver, everybody knows you, knows what you do. And Shanahan's is uniquely wonderful, fabulous. Yeah, it's a steakhouse, but it's a lot different. It's not just a steakhouse, it's much more. But you're open every night. Please have a reservation, I would say.
Yeah, it's great to have a reservation. If you don't, we'll find a way to accommodate you as well. And but reservation just kind of will ensure that you'll have your seating on time, and that you'll also have some preference as to where you'd like to sit in the restaurant, where you'll be most comfortable, and it gives us time to just prepare for your arrival and be sure we have all the details nailed down for whatever it is that you're going to be celebrating, whatever purpose you have for coming to Shanahan's, that we have all of that in good order for you.
Okay, and where are you located? Phone number, web page.
Yeah, well, our webpage is shanahanssteakhouse.com, and it's a always updated. It's a very informative webpage. And then we're located at 5085 South Syracuse Street in the Denver Tech Center. You can see our signage from I-25, and all you do is exit at Bellevue, and you'll see Shanahan's on the east-hand side of I-25. And of course, we have complimentary valet parking, as you mentioned earlier, Pat, and we also have plenty of garage parking. So parking, there's an abundance of parking. It's never an issue to park. It's probably one of the easier restaurants to park at in the city. And we have a patio area, which right now it's a little chilly out there, but we have a beautiful patio that looks out into open space with two different sets of fountains that are kind of at the gateway of the Denver Tech Center, and it's just a really nice atmosphere in the spring and summer and fall for al fresco dining. I can't think of a better spot. I know I'm probably a little bit biased with that, but it really
That's
is
okay, it is.
a beautiful experience to dine on our patio. And other than that,
Three
you
zero 7300.
yeah, yeah, 303-770-7300 is our number, and we obviously are taking reservations, not only by phone but through Open Table, and we're just you know, happy that we've had such a great run so far. We look forward to many more years of success, and we just want to really thank Denver for supporting us to the level that they have for so many years. We
You've
couldn't
earned
be more great. We couldn't be more grateful.
You've earned it. Don't kid. It is the best. And everybody who is watching, please like and subscribe to the Gabb. That's with 2B/Gabby Gourmet on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. It's Gabby Gourmet. This will be up on all of them. And Mark, I guess we should tell everybody Happy New Year. I forgot.
Well, yeah, happy New Year, and happy holidays to everyone. I know we kind of have Christmas and Hanukkah, all at the same time this year. So it's kind of it's extra special for everyone out there to have, such a great holiday season. And I know we didn't have a white Christmas, but I think we've got some snow on the way. I know it's snowing up in the mountains right now, but it's just been a really terrific holiday season, and we're going to end it with a bang on New Year's Eve. We've got a great celebration at Shanahan's. We still have a little bit of room, but we're booking up quickly, and we're looking forward to toasting in the new year in 2025. So happy New Year to
Okay.
everyone.
We'll see what 2025 brings, but I love you dearly, Mark. And to
Thank
all
you.
of you who do
Thank
tune
you.
in, thank you, love you. Have a great year. Mark, I will see you soon. Much love.
Love you,
Thank
Pat, and happy birthday coming up, Pat.
Oh,
I know a
thanks.
lot of your guests, you probably aren't advertising that, but
I'm
Pat has a big birthday coming up, and just happy birthday
going to
with
be
much
39.
love from all of us.
Thank you. My love you.
Thank
Everybody
you.
knows I'm old. Much love. Bye bye.
Thank you. All right.
Have a good day.